What's up, guys? I'm LQ. This is the LQ Review. Thank you so much for joining me right here at my YouTube channel. This is where we talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff that we love to talk about. Movies, video games, comic books, and TV shows. And right now, I'd like to give you guys my review of the new Netflix original movie, Secret Magic Control Agency. Now, this movie has been called Hansel and Gretel in other parts of the world, but that's probably a little bit redundant because there's about 1,000 movies called Hansel and Gretel. Here in the States, they call it Secret Magic Control Agency, and I find that a little bit more applicable to the movie. Because this movie is about an agency, an agent from an agency that is trying to bring some magic nefariousness under control. But first, let me give you a little bit of background here. So this movie wasn't on my radar at all, and it was nothing. Honestly, this movie was nothing that I was going to watch. And then my daughter, who's 7, she comes out to me and she says, Dad, you got to watch this movie with me. And I'm like, oh, my ears perk up because I love watching movies with my kids. I was like, oh, what movie? And she was like, I was in my room and I turned on Netflix and I watched this movie. And it's about a king who gets kidnapped by a baker, and they have to get rescued by Hansel and Gretel, and you have to watch it with me. And I'm like, all right, let's watch it. So we sat down and we watched this movie, and her description was pretty spot on. This king of this fantasy world where magic exists, he gets kidnapped by a witch who is very adept at baking. And she's able to put lots of potions into her baked goods in order to accomplish her goals. And the king is kidnapped by some sentient living cupcakes. So these cupcakes, they're wandering around and they're speaking in gibberish. And you can tell that these cupcakes were inspired by Minions from Despicable Me. Like, that's what I was thinking of every time I saw these cupcakes wandering around doing the witch's bidding. I could tell that they're Minions. And that's fine. Again, this is an animated movie, by the way. So what happens is this secret government organization called the Secret Magic Control Agency, they send their #1 agent out to rescue the king. And their #1 agent happens to be Gretel from Hansel and Gretel. Well, she needs help. So she recruits her brother, Hansel, to join her. Now, her brother is not a member of this agency, and her brother is, in fact, a magician who swindles people. It's all illusions, it's all an act. He doesn't do real magic, and he's just out to take people's money. So she ends up recruiting him, and they go on this mission to rescue the king from this evil witch. Now, when I say Hansel and Gretel and I say evil witch, obviously we think of the evil witch that lives in the candy house and wants to and kidnaps Hansel and Gretel and tries to fatten them up before cooking them. That's not the witch we're talking about here. The witch we're talking about here is a completely different witch. But they do meet that witch through the course of this movie. Through some antics, they end up getting turned from teenagers to little kids. And when they're little kids, they end up at this witch's house. And the witch does, in fact, try to fatten them up because the witch does, in fact, want to eat them. And there is this big escape scene from this house. So the Hansel and Gretel legend definitely comes into play here. Now, after that, they go off and they go on their mission to finally rescue the king. So is this any good? Well, it definitely felt a lot like Shrek to me. As I'm watching this, it had a lot of the same qualities that Shrek had. Some self-referential comedy, some poking fun at legends, especially like grim fairy tales. There's a lot of recognizable elements here. And I think that was the big thing that kind of kept me engaged in it, was not the fact that it was good, but the fact that there was a lot that I recognized in it. And that can be a good thing, that can also be a bad thing, because everything that I recognized had been done better in other movies. At the end of the day, this was not a particularly good movie, but I enjoyed myself. And I enjoyed myself because I got to watch it with my 7-year-old daughter, and she loved it. Like, loved it. She's watched it since then. She loves this movie. So I've got to say, I'm not the target audience for this. I'm never going to sit down and watch Secret Magic Control Agency. I'm never going to be at the house by myself and say, what do I want to watch? I know, I'll watch Secret Magic Control. That's never going to happen. But I enjoyed myself because I got to watch it with my daughter, who was absolutely enthralled by it. She thought it was hilarious. She laughed. She had fun. She said, Dad, you got to watch this part. And then I'd watch it, and I would enjoy it because I'm watching it with her. So at the end of the day, if you're looking for a movie that might, if you have a little kid and you're looking for a movie that might engage them, you could do a lot worse than this. I wasn't hating myself watching it. I wasn't bored watching it. There was enough in this that kept my mind from wandering away. I was engaged while it was on. And sometimes that's the best you can say for a kid's movie like this. I was engaged while it was on. So, but if you have a little kid, I think there's a good probability that your kid will like this because mine was enthralled. So, Secret Magic Control Agency, was it great? Not really, but it did its job and it appealed to its audience in this case. So I'm not going to really give this one a grade because I'm not the target audience for this. But I will say that it did its job, and in my case, it did appeal to its target audience. So, have you seen Secret Magic Control Agency? Did you watch it with your kids? If so, what did you think of it? Let me know in the comments down below. While you're down there commenting, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. I put out a lot of content, and I want to make sure that you're up to date with everything that I'm doing. And as always, thank you so much for joining me right here at the OQ Review, where we get to talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff that we love to talk about. Until next time, we'll see you later.